weren't particularly that happy when I turned up. When I left, I made sure they were happy. How about that for detail? Ah! Yeah, all of it has just turned into an absolute ball ache. Oh, hi there. Just thought I'd come on at the start of the video just to say, if you've landed on this video based on the thumbnail and you're looking for a lot of high action, high drama, this isn't really the channel for you. I know that's the intention of thumbnails, you know, to create a little bit of clickbait and to get people to click on them and, you know, whatnot. But this channel really is sort of like a no frills. This is what I do day to day. So when I say I've had a bad week, the reality is no one's died. I've just had a slow week, or a few things have gone wrong. Yeah, so I just thought I'd take this opportunity just to come on, just let you know, if you're looking for a little bit more action, I have got some videos out there that are a little bit higher paced. I have also, if you go to this point of the video, things do start to pick up a little bit, but the first bit of the video really is me just sort of complaining, I guess, being a bit of a bitch. Yeah, and also you'll notice there's a couple of times in the video I sort of allude to the fact that there's I can't quite finish things. I've got a few issues with the lights, and also my customer is going away on a business trip, so because of that I didn't quite actually end the video very well, because I didn't do a lot of filming on the last couple of days, and I couldn't really fully finish stuff because I was trying to get everything to a point that we could discuss how I was going to finish it for him. And also I've got future work, so we had to go through all of that. So if you stick around for the end of the video, what I'll do is I'll come back on and I'll discuss the pricing of the lights, because you'll see from this video I've now found my sort of final system, and trust me, I've used a lot of these sort of LED lights over the years. You might find that hard to believe based on the evidence of this video, but I've now found what I think is my go-to system. So I'll discuss that. I'll put some links up on the screen or pictures up on the screen. Yeah. Oh yeah, and based on that, I'm not really one for, you know, suggesting give it a thumbs up. You haven't seen the video yet, but certainly if you do like this video, please give it a thumbs up. I have started delving into the Google Analytics, and it's very clear that probably, I think it's 60 something% of the people that watch my videos haven't subscribed. So if that's you, sort it out for a start, you know, or just go now, because if you're watching this repeatedly and you're not subscribing, like, you're hurting me, you know, you're actually costing me like that. But if you could please just sort of subscribe, I really appreciate it. It doesn't cost you anything, it doesn't cost me anything. It's only time, it's only a click. I'm not going to sort of like constantly be popping content up or putting posts up and stuff. It's not going to annoy you. It's just once a week. Yeah, that's it really. And like I say, if you should do that, it's good editing, good videoing. If you do like the video, give it a thumbs up and stick around for the end for the lighting thing. Enjoy. Well, good morning. It's Monday morning. Welcome back. If you watched last week's video, you'll know that I said Monday morning, first thing, I shall be installing these wardrobes. Don't worry, I am going to install them, but it's just not first thing. We've already had first thing. It's now about nearly 11 o'clock. What I'm not going to do when you get to the customer's houses, I'm not going to pick you up. I'm just going to whack you on time lapse, because I don't think I'll even get all this stuff upstairs before 1:30, like, because I've got to say hello, do all the bits and bobs, clear a space more than likely. I've actually got to sort out getting the carpet up and sorting out some electrics. So I'm just going to whack you on time lapse. It's very lazy and I do apologise. I'll try and do something in the edit so it makes it a bit interesting. Yeah, thanks a lot for the continued support as well. Let's just get on it. Let's just get on this week. Well, I know I said I wasn't going to pick you up, but I've got here and the customers aren't here, so which is great, you know. Well, not great, like, if you watch this, you're my customers and you watch this, sorry you're not here, it would have been nice to see you. But anyway, yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring all the stuff up, obviously, and this is the space. Basically, the idea is that those wardrobes are going to come along there, go back into there, just down the side of them switches. The top frame goes underneath the like this very odd detail, and then the cornice goes into the top of it, and then that scribes into there. That's the plan. It looks at a different height to me, but I've measured it, surveyed it. I mean, it's an extension, so it should be quite level. And yeah, the biggest thing I've got to do really, other than get the stuff up, is I've actually got to, so directly underneath here, if you look at this video, is the kitchen I did with the floating LED island. I know there's power in there, and I've got to get to the power to feed these, unless there's a socket, because there was loads of stuff here. No, it would have been nice, wouldn't it? Yeah, to feed these LED lights. And actually this socket over this side of the room, God, look at the state that electrician's done that. I did all that work trying to get all that nice. Look at the bloody state of that. Anyway, a month or so ago, I came back and I took that floor up so the electrician could get a cable in to put something in outside. Yeah, basically what we're going to do now then is bring all the stuff up, protect, have a little investigate. Got to get rid of these, obviously. I don't know what I'm going to do with them. Yeah, we'll go from there. Right then. Oh, I did that. Right, cool. Oh, that's what I was going to say. And sometimes you just got to lower your expectations, not with the work, but the bottom line is I thought I was going to be on this at like 8 o'clock this morning. It's now gone 11. And you know, you have to just, so it's a massive bang. It was the postman throwing the post on, because I've left the front door open, throwing the post on the floor. How about that for detail? Basically, I was going to say, yeah, you've got to lower your expectations of what you're going to get done. Customer might well be thinking, oh, like, you know, I'm going to come home and have brand new wardrobes. By the time I get it all unloaded out and figure out that, I'll just be happy just to get the carcasses up, to be honest with you. Why do you keep coming back to the channel? Because it's real, that's why. You wouldn't believe it. I didn't mention this morning. If I'd have mentioned it, it wouldn't have happened. But basically, last week or the week before, I took some decking apart. That was to remove a hot tub. I don't know if I even explained what I was doing. I basically had to remove all that so they could get a hot tub out. And I've been on call today in case they can't get the hot tub out, thinking, I'll just get the hot tub out. They can't get it out, they just rang me. I also had a nightmare getting these sockets in. I've had to just pack everything up, by the way, and put all my tools back on the van that I need to go over to this other job. But basically, I left a few spurter in where the cooker hood is, which is just here, and I cut my hole out. Admittedly, I could have come over a bit, cut my hole out thinking I'll be able to reach it. I couldn't bloody reach it. Well, I did reach it in the end. I had to turn the camera off in the end and use my phone for the light to get in there. I had to cut a bit of plasterboard out. It's all inside the bulkhead, so it doesn't matter. It's downstairs. If you go, like I say, go to that video, you'll see the I'm not going to go ahead and film there because I haven't got time. But basically, yeah, I couldn't believe it. Just like, what are the chances of that? Like, I could see the box, but I couldn't get to it because the plasterboard, like, there was not enough room between the plasterboard and the extractor. And I've also noticed, bloody, the builder never connected the extractor, so that's just sitting loose in the floor. The vents, I've got to talk to the customer about that. So he'll be happy, won't he? Right, I might film going over to this job then, but I'll run over there now. The woman's around me, she's in bits. She don't want them to go because they've been waiting for this hot tub to be fixed for forever. And right, anyway, chit chat. See you in a bit. That's all right for Monday then, isn't it? Yeah, so I've just come back and just done it. I've basically spent about an hour just ripping out loads of joists down the side, which I didn't film. Fucking ball ache. It's back at this house here with the shutters. So yeah, I don't think I explained that in last week's video, to be fair. Or it was a week before. I just don't think I really explained what I was doing, but basically the hot tub broke. They got a warranty repair on it, but the company that were repairing it, the company who brought it off, were like, we're not responsible for taking the decking out or something, I don't know. Yeah, and the lads were sound, to be fair. Sometimes it can be a bit of a nightmare turning up things like that. They can be a bit, you know, like that. It's like 2:30. They don't want like someone turning up, giving them, you know, they want to go home, don't they? They want to turn around and say, yeah, you can't do it. They don't want someone turning up going, oh, I'll take all the wood out for you. But I have done, they were alright. They weren't particularly that happy when I turned up. When I left, I made sure they were happy. Right, so what I'm going to do now, I am, turn the indicator off. I am going to not go back to that job because by the time I get there, we're probably going to be looking at 3, quarter past 3. I'll get all my tools out. I'm going to go to the workshop and I think I'm going to either pre-prepare the lights, because I do like to do that, and I didn't do it. And I think they're on the job. No, they're not. They might be with me, I'm not sure. Or I'll just do something, I don't know. Well, good morning. It's Tuesday morning. It's 10:15. Yes, it is. Yeah, 10:15. So what I've done already this morning is, so yesterday I went back to the workshop and I just fit the drawings into these bedside cabinets. And I've brought those in, put them in the back of the van overnight. I actually had to take them in the house overnight just to finish assembling the drawers. Just to, you know, line them. I just thought it's a bit of time saved. And then because I'm basically, you know, I had to disappear yesterday, that's taken a bit longer. I've got a couple of little things that it's just not flowing. Sometimes you can get these jobs done in a day, believe it or not. You wouldn't have thought it looking at what I've got on. But anyway, yeah, this one isn't working like that. This one's probably going to fight me all the way. I just feel it. So I thought if I come in and get these bedside cabinets in, you know, then at least when he comes home today, obviously I'll get the wardrobes in when they're not fully finished, because I don't think they will be. I just think the way it's going, it probably won't be. I've got a few issues now with everything being out of level. Build is terrible, but anyway, at least he's got his bedside cabinets. He's got a bit more to look at. Slight false economy, because to be honest with you, little mini things like it blocks off one of the plug sockets, and that's where I was putting the tripod to film. So it is a bit counterproductive for me, but for the customer it looks great. Just thought so I'm waiting on time lapse, but I just thought I'd show you, because I know there's people out there making this stuff and you've all got your own ways of doing it. So normally I'd cut the carpet back, you know, probably 50mm in, so that, because you don't want to necessarily support the cupboard right on the edge. You don't always need to. In this case, I need a bit of a buffer to fit to have like a secret plinth, which is what this is, if you remember, to basically hide the lights. Now, I don't want to go into too much detail. Basically, your floor is never going to be right. It's never going to be level. And you really want to pick up your wardrobes where the joists are. So what you can do is you can pre-make up little plinths or stages, which I would quite often do. But in this instance, I really needed to make the full height of the wardrobe finish underneath that, because that's the top of my face frame. And what I didn't want is the cornice coming in a little bit underneath there. I don't want the cornice coming in a little bit underneath. I want it coming in butting straight into there. And that's purely because it will look crap if I have to scribe the cornice in there. And it'll probably look a bit bad if I have to scribe the face frame in there. Because before you know it, you could end up with like 5 or 10mm left on the face frame. It won't look very good. So because we got carpet down, so I couldn't take the carpet up when I surveyed. And I don't know how level the actual where the hard floor is. Hard floor, and it is massively out of level. Should just facts, but believe it or not, that's 18mm out of level from there to there on that floor. Only on the back, not on the front. So it's got one hell of a twist on it. Christ knows what that's about. Anyway, what I do is I get a laser line up, a bit of masking tape actually on the end of a plaster bead, and just you can click them to bolts. So that works quite. Magnets ever so strong, and I measure basically F and B, so front and back. So at the back I measure all the way down. At the front, I measure all the way down, and I write it on the wall when I go along. And now I then can, if you don't, you know, rather than measuring in one go, so I've measured down to my laser line there, 1468. Then I measure up from my laser line to there. So sorry, I've measured from the floor to my laser line, 1468. Then I measure from my laser line to the underneath of there, and add those two measurements up, and that tells me that's my measurement I'm working to for my plinth. And then I just double check, which in this case I'm fine. I've got about 15mm, sorry. The floor doesn't run up anywhere else, so it runs down. So that is my highest point. So that's actually worked out well in one respect, because that's where I want to set out from, although I will build this one first. And that's my highest point, because the next thing you then want to do is leave your laser line up, and you want to basically cut your, so I've made these little plinths. I've just cut them downstairs on the table saw. That one's got a little notch out ready for the electrics. It'll be just like a little frame. You'll see me assemble it. And that basically will go in to the laser line at whatever, you know, whatever, I'll come up with like a distance that it needs to be. theoretically it's just tight to the tightest point and I just level it, but I can just keep measuring down to the laser line. That's how I like to do it. And what I might do is put the laser a little bit lower, because the laser's only a datum really. You know, you could have it like 100mm up and you could just keep measuring 100mm, set your plinth in like a nice level plate. And what I could have done was I could have just made my plinth 20mm under or whatever. You can buy these lovely little adjustable feet on metal angle brackets, but the problem with that is they're then putting like a shear pressure, like a shear weight down onto just the chipboard. I didn't know where the joists were, even though I did do the kitchen underneath. I just didn't document where they were. It's probably too much to get right, and also I knew I was going to have to take some floor up for the electrics, so there was just too much going on. I just thought I'll turn up today, get the plinths made. It's going to slow me down a little bit, let's be honest. I could have turned up with pre-made plinths and just knifed the carpet up and dropped them in. They'd probably been in yesterday, to be honest with you, and then I could level them today. But yeah, such as obviously we've had this issue with that hot tub. He's now texted me and he's grateful for that, so at least that's sorted. It's a funny though, because he's just like, what do you charge for that? Because the reality is that killed half a day for me, plus the fuel. But really, I was only there for about 45 minutes. Anyway, obviously I did other stuff. Figure that out another time. Don't know why I'm asking you. Although actually, that's what you're supposed to do, aren't you? If you do, what would you do? It took me about an hour to pack up, because obviously I was in the middle of doing something, tidy up, then drive over there, chat to them for about 15 minutes, then do what they wanted for 45 minutes. Then I was back away at the workshop. What do you charge for that? I used to have this system where I only do half days. I don't do anything less than half a day, but it just seems a bit unfair. Right, anyway, whack you on the tripod and we'll get on with it. It's 1 o'clock. It's 1 o'clock. I've had to come out. I need to have a better day tomorrow. Like these should be done today. Like I've had a day and a half on it. Well, I would have had a day and a half on Wednesday. And I don't even know what I'm going to get done. Absolute. Basically, the corner is about 24 mil out of square, which is my fault for not double checking. But it's like an extension that I've worked on. Although I didn't do any of the carpentry work, trust me. I just done all the second fix because the builder's chippies were just terrible. So I mean, if I get a chance, I'll include a picture of the skirting board as well. It's not even any glue on it. It's just pass loaded into the plasterboard, which is great for removing. But yeah, basically it's out of square. And I do make an allowance for out of square. I make about 18 mil allowance. So you know, I've only 5 or 6 mil I've got to, you know, make up for. But the problem is, because it's such a harsh angle, I've glued an 18 mil bit of timber to the wall, which is what I'd normally then screw my carcass into. So that gives me 18 plus, say you're 18, it's not 36. And then I'll make my face frames at about 45, and they, you know, they can finish up from anything from 36 to 45. So I've got whatever 9-10 mil of bloody of tolerance. But because it's such a harsh angle, that I've glued, just by chance, a wider piece of 18 mil to the wall. It's hitting the back edge of it, and that's going to throw the cabinet out even more. I mean, I'm only governed to how far I can get it into the corner as well. Like, because it's diving in at such an angle, the back of the cupboard's just going to hit the corner, and that's not level either. That's miles out of level. It's all twisted. The house is like, the workmanship that they've done is just pathetic. It's like new build quality. And then the floor's out of level. You know, I told you that this morning. Yeah, and then basically the thing that's really annoying me is I should have planed the green batten, the moisture resistant batten I put on the wall down. I should have planed it down, but I didn't. I was like, oh, I'll just put it to the wall, it'll be fine. I'll, you know, then realised it weren't going to be right. Cut a bit off the top. Was like, still not going to be right. I'm going to have to plane it off the unit. Got my plane out. And then last week when I went, did that job for that lady, which I didn't film, as a painter there, Martin. who wanted to borrow my plane, brought some bits in from home, cut some strips down, and he wanted to put them in his doorways. And he was like, "Will you plane?" I said, "No, just borrow my plane, you can do it." And I'm thinking he's put my plane down. I think he's left it on. The blade has just exploded. So I've got no bloody plane bar. I started playing and I was like, why is it not doing anything? It was like I didn't even have a blade in. The blade's literally shattered. I'm lucky I didn't shoot across the room. Ah! I'm going to go back there and just, I mean, this is the worst job I've ever done. And also, because I made it so long ago, I'm struggling to remember exact like little bits, and I've forgotten something as well. I've forgotten one of the top trims, so I can't even finish it today anyway. Fucking joke. Okay, right, I'm back here. I haven't got the viewfinder on, I know I look ridiculous. Basically, so I've shaved all this back. It's not ideal. And then this is the corner. You can see how much that runs out. And I'm just touching it, and I've had to shave this as well. You know, which is a nightmare to do while it's on. So I'm just gonna have a quick hoover up. I'm gonna get this cabinet on, but it's just like, it's my fault. You know, there's no two ways about it. Get a chance to measure. I measured the room. I just have an allowance of about sort of 12, 15 mil for square and level, but the level and the square has gone against me in the wrong way, and it started off at 23 mil out. If it's an old house, I'd template, but you know, nice crisp new extension, isn't it? So anyway, time lapse. Yeah, 5:10. You know, but yeah, that's where we are. I'm just going to mess around with the lights now. I can't get that scribe any tighter as well either. We're tight down the bottom, we're like 10 mil off down the bottom. But the wall's just so far out of there when it shouldn't be. And then we've got another scribe to do here. I've had to remove the skirting boards as well because it just came off when I was multi-tooling it. I had to multi-tool it for the bottom of the cabinet. It's not an ounce of glue on the back. Just pass loads that long. Straight into plasterboard. No glue. No glue. Mental. Every single skirting board, look. Whether you touch it or not. You have to take a bit out of the plasterboard as well, because obviously if it's out of square, it's out of level, isn't it? The roof. So the roof end level. Or maybe that's the comp, I don't know. So it's not quite right with that corner. I'll say quite right, it's a mile out. So I've pocket screwed a piece on there. So I'll put a scribing piece in there. We've got a top piece that will go just underneath that, which is down there. And we've got another top piece, but I haven't brought it with me. Don't know why. So yeah, like I say, I'm just going to mess around with these lights. These are the lights. They're going to go in there, but I'm a bit worried that I'm going to struggle to pass it. I've done it before, but it just looks a bit tight. 12 mil deep, and I rebate them at 12.5, 13. So, because they sort of, when they're on, they expand a little bit and they just stick in lovely. Right, see you in the morning. Believe it or not, I've actually worked at this house before and built two things. So if you go to these two videos, they're things that I've built in this house with LED light strips. And this is like the first time I've ever done it. I said the other day, this wardrobe is not going well. I don't know why. I mean, I've lost it really. I've completely lost it. Sometimes this happens, but it just doesn't happen that often to me, if I'm honest. But it's happened a couple of times this year. I'm having a wobble. I don't mind admitting it, but basically, for whatever reason, these light strips, this is what I've had to do. So I've got these two in now. I had to turn the time lapse off because it was just, my battery was dying, the phone kept ringing. But I've got those two in, and I figured out, basically I had to pull these two out that I put in here. I had to just rip them out. I don't know if I turned the time lapse off before or after, but basically with these light strips, I'm just trying to find the connector. I've got so much stuff everywhere. Yeah, with these Hayfley switch connect light connectors, you just have to literally, so if I get a bit of tape, you've got a plus and a minus, and you just have to get the plus to the red and put it in there and click it down. But I've never noticed this before, so I think that these LED diodes are slightly bigger, or there's more of them, or that these have changed their connections. I've got some more connections, some Amazon ones that I use to extend cables in the box. I haven't opened those yet. They're in my electrical box to see if they work with these. But basically it will work, but you have to hand them. But before, it's never really bothered me which way you round you cut it. So it has to go that way if I was connecting to that side, but this lid won't close over that LED diode. Whereas if I do it, say if I was connecting to this side here, so the positive is on the far side, you turn that over, you connect it, the light then goes into this bit, and that works because there's a bit of a recess there, I don't know if you can see it, for the light to sit in, and that works. I wish I'd known that before I pulled all that in, because I pulled all them in the other way around, and I've never had that problem, and I've snapped them trying to get them out because they were that tight. Because the other thing is, the original lights that I was going to fit were these. They're square, whereas the ones that I've got are slightly rounded, which isn't a problem. It just means they're slightly domed, whereas these ones, if you look, they're slightly, get like a really bad one. There's bad, look. Because it's so, what I'll do is I'll prise that out a little bit, because it's some, you see the round starts to show the edge of the veneer board. These ones, they finish, well, I've routed them in purposely. They finish more or less flush, if half a mil forward. Whereas these finish half a mil forward, but because they're rounded, you see the edge. It's not a big deal. You thankfully, you never see that you used to work this out after the first few are done. Because actually as well, the other thing is these are like 5.9 mil and your router cutters are 6.3. So there's a bit of a slop in it as well, which you need. But basically you never see these with the lights off, because every time you open the doors, the lights come on. So you can't look at the lights, it's too bright, you know, so you won't ever see like $0.25 difference. But yeah, all of that is just, that's cost me a couple of hours, that has, getting all that in there. And then the other thing was, so basically I was going to have, I've got a light underneath here now, and I was never going to have one. I was only ever going to have a light going up there and a light going up there. So I was just going to have two runs down. I pre-ordered all this stuff from Hayfley ages ago. And I was going to have just 2 connections to my lights. Then last minute I was like, no, it'd be nice to put a light in for above the drawers, but that means I've got to extend the cable so that I can join these 2 lights up, because I've only got one. You have 1 cable going back to the box, if you know what I mean. Well, I mean, for the sake of £2, I could have just ordered another cable, but I'd already ordered it all, and I thought, well, I'll extend them all the time. So I thought, I'll poke at the top and just extend it and just bridge them over. But I can't. The one place I wanted to do it is in that corner, and you can't get it bloody out. I did manage to get it out in the end, but I snapped the light getting it in, so I had to pull that one out. So, yeah, all of it has just turned into an absolute ball ache. Right, I'm going to wait you back on time lapse. I'm going to see if we can get these ones in a bit quicker, and then just get the doors on, go into the other room, start that. But bloody hell. Yeah, and all that work today on that, just for those lights, and all because the ones I normally use out of stock. But it has answered something for me. It has answered that I've got a really good system. I'm just going to stick to it with the Hafley stuff and the other LED light ropes, because it does look good. So I'll just show you. Obviously they're on it. It's like a little automatic thing down there. But basically the biggest problem I had was these lights wouldn't pull past there, and they kept snapping. And these, there's not any slack inside the LED between the silicone and the LED. So when you pull the silicone, I think it snapped the LED. So I'd get them in, light them up, and they'd be broken halfway up or just in random places. And I thought, maybe I got a bad batch. And then I worked out that, I mean, there weren't a lot of tension, but just that tension of me pulling it past there. And it took me ages to get out of the bottom of that one. You know, like, I think the other LED lights I use, it's just a shame they're out of stock, really. But it's made my mind up that the way I'm doing it with, you know, like meeting bits, like using the Hafley, I think I just said it right, using the Hafley switches and all stuff, and then using these LED lights off Amazon. If I could have got them, they're so good. They're so like, and they're just the same price. They might even be a little bit cheaper. They're so resilient. These just aren't resilient. That's what I was talking about with the drawers as well. So when the drawers are open, and actually it does work quite well. If we just take another one, look, it does light up the other drawers. Take the bottom and actually see what that's like. I haven't actually tried all these. Yeah, so it lights up the drawers. I mean, you can't really grumble at that, can you? he'll be happy with that, no doubt. Fucking better be. Right, yeah. That's it. Put the mirrors on, adjust the doors tomorrow. Start on the other room. I might just message them and say that I need to start a little bit earlier, because I've been starting at like 9:30 because it's half term. But I might just say that I need to start at 8 because I've really got to get a lot done tomorrow. Which is, you know, it's doable. I've got to, I think what I might leave this now actually, because get my tools out of here, tidy up, do rail heights and stuff with them. Just start the little girls' room, because what will happen is the little girls' room, I did that more recently, so it's in my mind. But what will happen is, if I'm not careful, I'm going to end up starting the little girls' room too late on tomorrow, and then if I need something, I can't get it, just in case. Right, yeah, I think that looks nice. A little bit like a phone booth, actually, isn't it, when you think about it? I don't know if I've, like the TARDIS, I don't know if I've done the right thing. We did have a drawing of it going up to the ceiling, but I said the only way you want to do that is if you went all the way over. And I mean, this just doesn't help, does it? But yeah, anyway, waffle. See you in the morning. Morning, Thursday. Always feels a lot nicer when you come in the next day, you know, see it. You think, oh yeah, it's not that bad, is it? Yeah, so I'm in here today. Here we are. We're doing that in there, and that's this. I'll overlay it on the screen. So, yeah, I'm just going to jump on it really. I'm going to have to leave this room a little bit like this. Obviously, I'll take my tools out in there, I'll sheet up in there. I've just got to have the second one running at the same time now, because I need to make sure that I've got everything. Just because of what's happened, I can't, you know, normally I'd just jump straight on that. I'll finish that, but plus I've got the guys going away at the weekend, so I want to get everything up and running so we can discuss future stuff I've got to do, and just like, you know, rails and things in both. Cool, right. Yeah, I've got to load out. I don't know if I told that or not, but I'm going to load out, then we'll go. Breaking proceedings. Many of you will be really fascinated by this, but basically this again, we're quite a long way out, so I'm just going to take the skirting board off because of the problems I had in the other room. This side's out of square but fine. You know, it's out of square by a little bit, quite a bit less than the other room, but it still is. Let me just put the carpets right in the corner, and as you'll see, you know, still a fair bit, still about probably 15 mil over 600. We got here, this is what I'm working with in the house. Brand new carpenter. My drawers finish here. So I'm going to put a scribe in next to that. What are you going to look at? And I can't even. So I'm tempted to cut that off and try and join a bit back in, maybe over here. I don't know. I just don't know, you know. But anyway, other than that, I've got to check my heights work now, and we'll crack on with it. That's gone better, isn't it? That's not too bad for a day. Always want to do more, don't you? But bear in mind, I've had to load out, sort out electrics. You know, I mean, fit-wise though, I'm pretty happy. Finally, something's gone right. That's where it should land. And actually, there's another 6mm. The face frame comes 6mm over, so that will just touch there, which means then the cornice will be the perfect striking point. It'll be the end of the cornice. Look forward to that cut. I've only got one. Yeah, and then desk, and that goes in there. And then this is the drawer, if you remember. It's just, you know, that's the thing with these jobs. You're forever moving around the bed and working around things. It just becomes like real hard work, actually. Forgotten what it was like. I've done a lot worse. I've done a lot worse, you know, houses to work in. This isn't too bad for access and whatnot. It's a bit tight around the stairs, but everything fit up the stairs. That's the main thing, isn't it? I've had that happen before. Right, see you in the morning. Right, good morning. It's Friday morning. I just had to come back in. I was in the workshop this morning. Just thought it's easier to say hello. Just loading up, just make sure the lights off for the paint. Just load everything up for this job. Don't know if anybody remembers this time last week. I did a video in the workshop, which was I was in a bit of a worse mood, and my microphone was dead, so I had to redo the video. I've just done another video and then realised my microphone was dead from last week, so I've got to redo it. So basically, what have I done? Loaded up, I'm going to get this job finished today with the exception of handles, mirrors, shelves. I can work like mad and get that done, I know I can, but there's more stuff to do at this house. Like over the next few weeks, I've got quite a lot going on with this house, so I've actually got to spend a bit of time with the customer because he's going away this weekend. Ideally, because it's half term, I wanted to have this done by Thursday, which is yesterday. And I was actually going to spend a day with the kids today, but I've just got to get this job done and spend a bit of time with the customer because I found out he's going away for a few weeks or a week. I just thought also, yeah, so what I'll do is I'll just document me on time-lapse day, get as far as I can. I'll pick you up at the end of the day, have a little chat about what's coming up and what, you know, how the week's gone really. I'll try and surmise it. Yeah, but I just thought I'd show as well, when you've got an empty workshop, not empty because it's a bit of a mess, but what that feels like when you've got all that space gone. It feels space back, sorry, it feels amazing. If anyone does this, you'll know what it's like when you clear a job. It's just like, oh yeah, man, I've got all that room. And I've actually thought about doing, like, I don't do this enough. I don't do it at all on Instagram actually, but like reels or shorts. I thought about doing a nice reel or short where you've got a full workshop. You've got to document like 60 seconds or whatever. Full workshop, you fit a job. Well, I'd struggle, wouldn't I? The full workshop, do a job, and then the next day I'm back in the workshop, it's empty, and I'm doing like sawdust angels on the floor, like an overhead shot, you know, like screw the camera up to the oh, I'm explaining how you do an overhead shot. I'm really taking you through the technicalities of how I film by screwing my iPhone to the ceiling. Yeah, me just doing sawdust angels, and I just thought, you know, it'd be quite good. All I've got to do really is document it, come up with like a nice little be quite a lot of editing, I'd have thought. Come up with a nice little song for it as well. Just get it all, you know, be a good idea really. As a positive, I've definitely got the sawdust, so I'm halfway there, and right. Yeah, I've got a few little things to think about today as well, because the lights, you normally connect those at the bottom. Well, I do, I'll connect them under the plinth, but I suddenly woke up this morning and thought, you know what, I'm gonna have a bit of an issue here, aren't I? Because the lights for the bookcase start halfway up, and I don't think the connection leads, they're long enough, but I don't think they're long enough. Like, I'd have to extend the lights so that the actual connector as well is accessible. I don't want to do that because I don't really want to waste the lights, especially then you've got to black out all the lights in case you get like it bleeds out from a gap. So yeah, I'm thinking I've either got to make a slightly bigger hole at the bottom of the bookcase around the corner of the face frame, if that makes it, if you know what I mean. Just like, you won't see it unless you pop your head inside there, just so you can thread the connection out, ease it out if you need to later on, if you've got to change anything. Or a service hole when you take the drawer out. So I don't know. Don't think you'll see the service hole, because like when you use a drawer, if it's, you know, there's about 5 or 6 mil gap down the side, so yeah, you're not going to see it as long as it's not at the top. But my drawer boxes are pretty much full depth anyway, full height anyway. Right, so I'll put the whole saw set up because I think I've just answered that. Right, I'll get to the job, see how we go. Right then, I hope you enjoyed that. Sorry it was a little bit long. So basically, a little bit of discussion now about the LED lights. You'll notice actually in some of the pictures, they look a little bit yellow. They're warm white. They look yellow when the lights are on because they've got the bright white light, almost like the blue light setting on their spots. But you can change the setting on the spots. I'm actually going to change them for the bedrooms. They've got like a little switch inside the spot and they've all just been set up for the brightest setting. That was something we discussed because at night time, the ones in the little girls' room are going to act as night lights. And then when you open the wardrobes, the guy gets up to, like, you know, he works in London and stuff. He'll get up early in the morning. It's just a nice softer light for your wardrobes and stuff. Obviously, you can get these LED light strips in a bright white or there's an in-between as well. I like them in this, but I appreciate I looked at some of the videos and footage and I thought, oh, they do look yellow actually, especially with the oak. But there are a couple, so I'll try and put some finished shots up. I think I've got a finished shot without the lights on. You'll see what I mean. They don't look yellow, and they don't look yellow when you're in the room either. Anyway, so what I use the Hayfley Lux drivers, and there's the Lux 5 as well. Now, I think they're discontinuing the actual Lux, and they're just going with the Lux 5 now. But either way, whatever you order will come with the adapter, so you can use both. The reason I use those, they're not the cheapest drivers, they're not the most expensive, but the switches, you just get really good door contact switches. You get two choice of door contact switches, you get sensors, dimmer sensors, little rocker switches, and I just find they're really slimline. I've ordered some other LED drivers and they're only £5–10 cheaper, but then you're governed to using their switches. And I don't really find that the switches are as useful. What else you can do as well is they come with like a switch lead that connects to the lights, which has got like I showed it in the video. You click it down and you see I had problems with those. And interestingly, I got my Amazon ones out, which I'll put on the screen now, and they connected perfectly into the lights. And I've found that before in the past, the Hayfley ones, they're a bit soft almost. They just don't quite puncture the light properly. It's quite a minimal sort of connection point as well. Whereas the Amazon ones, they're cheap as chips. And they click on really well to the LED lights. So the LED lights that I will be using in the future are these. They're Lucien Star. They roughly work out between £2.40 to sort of £3.40 a metre, all different colours. And they're not domed, they're square on the top. I did put a picture of that. If you go to the video, there's a bit in the video where I discuss where it's slightly domed, the ones I've brought, which I've used before, these dome ones, and it doesn't work, like, because you're putting a rounded product into like a square rebate, whereas the Lucien style ones are completely square and flat on the top. It's just a nicer effect as well, I think. And they connect a lot better to even the Hafley switches. But what I'm going to do in the future, not the Hafley connector blocks, what I'm going to do in the future is I'm going to buy all the Hafley stuff, and I'm even going to buy the Hafley connector strips to the plugs. But I'm just going to cut them off and put my Amazon ones on, because they're a little bit bulkier. So maybe those Hafley ones are designed to sit inside certain channels. You know, you can buy these like channels with diffusers and baffles and stuff on, but they just don't connect as well as these Amazon ones. So I've got a little toolbox set up now, a little sustainer where I've based a Stanley sustainer, where I've got some bell wire for extending the LED lights, offcuts of LED lights, just for doing little bits, and I've got the Amazon connector blocks, and I'm going to start stocking up on these Hafley switches and things like that. I've got a fair few left over from different jobs, and they're cheap. The switches are cheap. So my recommendations would be open a Hafley account, speak to your rep, because you'll probably get them a little bit cheaper anyway, but they're cheap on the, if you just go straight to Hafley anyway, rather than going to a stockist or a supplier. And yeah, just use the Hafley stuff and interconnect it with different LED strips, because the Lucien style ones, I've got some of those. They've been up in my house for 5 or 6 years. I've had no problems with them. These ones I just brought, I don't anticipate having any problems with them now they're installed, but actually installing them I found hard work. Well, you know, I found absolutely terrible. Yeah, so I've put those up on the screen. Whether or not I get a chance, I'll put a link in the description, but you can obviously just Google and find it if it's of any interest to anyone. Yeah, and just take another opportunity to thank anyone that's been watching regularly and commenting. It's been brilliant. I've had lots of engagement this week on private messages again. I've had people ring me up asking about pricing, talking about jobs they're doing. I've been able to glean information about them, about, you know, sheet goods and things. And I think I'm probably just going to go back onto doing a lot of wardrobes, because it's been such a while since I've done them that I need to really just build my system back in again as well, because I haven't really done any this year. Believe it or not, you wouldn't tell by what I've done. I've done them for years. But I was just out of touch, really. I didn't even have my toolboxes set up for doing it. I mean, when you think I did the kitchen earlier this year and I scribed and fitted all that in like 6 days or 7 work days, and we're 5 work days on these 2 wardrobes, and I'm still working on them. Absolutely mad. But you know, the quality will be there at the end. The results are going to be there at the end. So thanks anyone that's watched this far, stuck around. Really, really appreciate it. And yeah, I'll see you next week.